Let's start with a question. When was the last time you truly focused on yourself? I'm not talking about taking a day off to relax or buying something nice to treat yourself. I mean focusing on your growth, your purpose, and the person you're becoming. The world we live in thrives on distractions. We're constantly bombarded with notifications, news, opinions, and expectations. It's a never-ending cycle of comparison, of seeing what everyone else is doing, achieving, or pretending to achieve. And in the middle of all that noise, where are you? Where's your voice? Here's the truth. 2025 isn't going to magically make life easier. The distractions will still be there, maybe even louder. But the choice to focus on yourself, that's entirely yours. You see, we've been conditioned to look outward for validation. We scroll through social media to see how we measure up. We chase benchmarks set by others, career milestones, relationship goals, material possessions, thinking that's where fulfillment lies. But here's the problem. Every time you measure your life against someone else's, you lose sight of your own path. Imagine running a race where you keep looking at the lanes next to you. How far can you really go before you trip? The same applies to life. The only way to make real progress is to focus on your lane, on yourself. Now, focusing on yourself doesn't mean being selfish. It doesn't mean ignoring the people you care about or isolating yourself from the world. It means recognizing that the most profound change you can create, the greatest impact you can have, starts with you. Because when you grow, when you thrive, the people around you benefit too. So how do we do this? How do we focus on ourselves in a world designed to pull us in every direction but inward? The first step is clarity. Take a moment to ask yourself, what do I really want? Not what's expected of me, not what looks good on paper. What do I, in the deepest part of my being, truly desire? This isn't an easy question to answer. It requires honesty and vulnerability. But until you know what you're aiming for, how can you take the first step? Once you have clarity, the next step is commitment. Commitment to your goals, your values, and your growth. And commitment doesn't mean perfection. It means showing up every single day, even when it's hard, even when it's messy. Because let's be honest, growth isn't glamorous. It's uncomfortable. It's filled with setbacks and doubts. But it's also where the magic happens. Think about the last time you achieved something you were truly proud of. Was it easy? Probably not. It likely required effort, perseverance, and maybe even a bit of pain. But wasn't it worth it? That sense of accomplishment, that inner confidence, it doesn't come from shortcuts. It comes from doing the work. And part of that work is learning to say no. No to the things that drain your energy. No to the expectations that don't align with your values. No to the constant comparisons that make you feel less than. Saying no isn't about shutting people out. It's about making space for what matters. Because here's the thing, your time and energy are finite. You can either spend them chasing someone else's dream or invest them in building your own. Which one do you think will lead to a more fulfilling life? Focusing on yourself also means being kind to yourself. We're often our harshest critics, aren't we? We replay our mistakes, magnify our flaws, and question our worth. But what if we treated ourselves with the same compassion we'd offer a friend? What if, instead of tearing ourselves down, we built ourselves up? Self-compassion isn't weakness. It's the foundation of resilience. When you believe in yourself, truly believe, you're unstoppable. You'll face challenges with courage, you'll embrace opportunities with confidence, and most importantly, you'll live a life that feels authentic and meaningful. Now, let's talk about boundaries. Focusing on yourself requires setting boundaries, not just with others, but with yourself. It means being disciplined about how you spend your time and where you direct your attention. It means recognizing when you're falling into old patterns of distraction or comparison and choosing a different path. And yes, it's hard. It's hard to say no to a world that constantly demands your attention. It's hard to tune out the noise and listen to your inner voice. But it's also liberating. because when you focus on yourself, you reclaim your power. You stop letting the world dictate your worth, your happiness, and your success. Instead, you define those things for yourself. You decide what success looks like. You choose what brings you joy. You create a life that reflects who you are, not who the world thinks you should be. This isn't just about achieving goals or checking off milestones. It's about becoming the best version of yourself. It's about aligning your actions with your values. It's about living with intention and purpose. And here's the beautiful part. When you focus on yourself, you inspire others to do the same. You become a beacon of authenticity in a world of conformity. You show people what's possible when you prioritize your growth and follow your heart. So, as we step into 2025, I want you to make a promise to yourself. Promise to focus on your journey, not someone else's. Promise to invest in your growth, your dreams, and your well-being. Promise to be the kind of person you're proud of, because you owe it to yourself to be nothing less. The world doesn't need more people trying to fit in. It needs more people brave enough to stand out. It needs more people who are willing to focus on themselves, not out of selfishness, but out of a desire to live a life of meaning and impact. So let's make this the year you stop looking outward for validation and start looking inward for inspiration. Let's make this the year you focused only on yourself, not as a retreat from the world, but as a way to better show up for it. Because when you focus on yourself, you don't just change your life, you change the world. When you begin to focus on yourself, an entirely new way of living unfolds before you. It's like shifting from a blurry, disoriented lens to one that's clear and sharp. Suddenly, the noise of the world doesn't seem so loud. The pressure to constantly meet expectations diminishes. And for the first time in a long time, you can actually hear yourself think, feel, and dream. This isn't an act of escape, it's an act of reconnection. Reconnection with yourself is one of the most powerful steps you can take. It requires you to examine not just what you want, but why you want it. Are the dreams you're chasing really yours, or have they been placed on you by society, family, or friends? Have you been striving for something because it feels meaningful to you, or because you think achieving it will make you feel valued in the eyes of others? Focusing on yourself allows you to take ownership of your choices. It allows you to step out of the reactive cycle of living that so many of us fall into and into a proactive way of being. Instead of waking up each day and simply responding to what life throws at you, you wake up with a purpose that you've set for yourself. That shift might seem subtle, but it's transformational. When you focus on yourself, you begin to understand that life isn't a race. It's not about who gets there first or who accumulates the most. It's about the depth of your experience, the quality of your relationships, and the sense of fulfillment you feel along the way. These things don't come from competing with others. They come from being present with yourself and staying true to what matters most. And here's the thing, focusing on yourself isn't always glamorous. Sometimes it means sitting with uncomfortable emotions and acknowledging truths you've been avoiding. It means confronting the parts of yourself that you'd rather ignore. It means asking the hard questions. Why do I act this way? Why do I believe this? Why do I keep holding on to something that no longer serves me? Growth doesn't come without discomfort, and focusing on yourself is no exception. But discomfort is not your enemy. It's a sign that you're stepping out of your comfort zone, breaking old patterns, and creating space for something new. When you embrace discomfort as part of the process, you begin to see it not as a threat, but as an opportunity. The important part of this journey is learning to let go. Letting go of the need for approval, letting go of the need to control everything, letting go of the past, and with it, the regrets and resentments that weigh you down. Letting go isn't about forgetting, it's about freeing yourself from what no longer supports your growth. And as you let go, you create space. Space for new perspectives, new opportunities, and new possibilities. You give yourself permission to dream bigger, to think differently, and to explore paths you might never have considered before. You realize that focusing on yourself isn't about staying where you are, it's about evolving into who you're meant to be. But let's not forget the importance of patience in this process. In a world that glorifies instant results, it's easy to feel frustrated when progress is slow. But true growth doesn't happen overnight. It's a journey that unfolds gradually, one step at a time. You can't rush it, and you can't skip the steps. What you can do is trust the process and keep moving forward, even when it feels like you're not making much progress. And while patience is key, so is persistence. There will be days when you want to give up, when the effort feels like too much, and when the voice of doubt becomes louder than the voice of hope. On those days, remind yourself why you started. Remind yourself of the vision you're working toward and the person you're becoming, because every step, no matter how small, brings you closer to that vision. Another essential aspect of focusing on yourself is cultivating gratitude. Gratitude shifts your perspective from what's lacking to what's already present. It reminds you that even in the midst of challenges, there is something to be thankful for. Gratitude doesn't mean ignoring the difficulties. It means choosing to see the good alongside them. When you practice gratitude, you strengthen your connection to the present moment. And the present moment is where life happens. It's where growth occurs, where joy is found, and where change begins. By focusing on the here and now, you take back control from the distractions of the past and the uncertainties of the future. But focusing on yourself also means being intentional about the energy you surround yourself with. Who you spend your time with matters. Are the people in your life supportive, uplifting, and aligned with your values? Or do they drain your energy and pull you away from your goals? This isn't about judging others. It's about protecting your peace and prioritizing your well-being. Sometimes focusing on yourself means making tough decisions. It might mean distancing yourself from relationships that no longer serve you, or setting boundaries with people who don't respect your time and energy. It's not always easy, but it's necessary, because the people you surround yourself with have a profound impact on your mindset, your habits, and your journey. And let's talk about habits. Habits are the building blocks of your life. What you do consistently shapes who you are and what you achieve. Focusing on yourself means examining your habits and asking, are these serving me? Are they aligned with the person I want to become? Building new habits takes effort, and breaking old ones takes courage. But every positive change you make, no matter how small, contributes to your growth. It's not about overhauling your entire life overnight. It's about making small, intentional changes that add up over time. And while habits are important, so is rest. Focusing on yourself doesn't mean pushing yourself to the point of exhaustion. It means recognizing the value of rest, recovery, and reflection. It means understanding that rest is not a sign of weakness, but a necessary part of growth. Stress allows you to recharge, to gain perspective, and to show up as your best self. It's not about doing less, it's about doing what matters with more intention and energy. When you take care of yourself, you're better equipped to take care of the people and responsibilities in your life. As you focus on yourself, you'll begin to notice a shift. You'll feel more grounded, more confident, and more aligned with your values. You'll stop seeking external validation and start trusting your own instincts. You'll realize that your worth isn't determined by what you achieve, but by who you are. And this shift doesn't just benefit you, it ripples out to the people around you. When you show up as your best self, you inspire others to do the same. You create an environment of authenticity, growth, and positivity. And that's how real change happens. Not by trying to fix the world, but by starting with yourself. So as you move forward in 2025, remember this: focusing on yourself is not a one-time decision, it's a daily practice, a choice you make moment by moment. It's about showing up for yourself even when it's hard. It's about believing in your potential even when the world doubts you. And it's about staying true to your path even when it's easier to follow someone else's. This year, let your focus be on the one person you have the power to change, yourself. Not because you're not enough as you are, but because you're capable of so much more. Because you deserve to live a life that feels meaningful, fulfilling, and authentically yours. When you decide to focus on yourself, a transformation begins. It's not something that others will immediately notice or applaud, and in fact, it often goes unseen. But that's the point. This is about what happens within you, quietly, gradually, but undeniably. It's about building something that can't be measured in likes, comments, or external praise. It's about constructing a foundation so strong within yourself that no external circumstance or fleeting opinion can shake it. At first, this process can feel lonely. You might find yourself pulling away from certain routines or people who no longer align with where you're going. And that's okay. Growth often requires pruning. A tree doesn't apologize for shedding its leaves in the autumn. It knows that the loss is necessary for new growth in the spring. You are no different. Every relationship, every commitment, every belief system that you release is making space for something greater to flourish within you. But this solitude, this temporary discomfort, is not something to fear. It's something to embrace. Because it's in those moments of solitude that you discover who you truly are. You learn to sit with your thoughts, to process your emotions, and to hear the quiet whispers of your intuition. In the chaos of life, these whispers are often drowned out. But when you slow down and focus inward, they become louder, clearer, and more trustworthy. They guide you toward what is right for you, not for anyone else, but for you. This is why self-awareness is such a vital part of focusing on yourself. To know yourself is to understand your strengths, your weaknesses, your triggers, and your patterns. It's about recognizing the stories you've been telling yourself, stories about what you can and cannot do, about what you deserve, and about what's possible for you. Some of these stories are empowering, but others hold you back. And it's your responsibility to rewrite the ones that no longer serve you. Rewriting these stories takes courage. It requires you to challenge long-held beliefs and confront uncomfortable truths. It's not easy to admit that you've been standing in your own way or that you've allowed fear to dictate your choices. But this honesty, this willingness to face yourself is where true transformation begins. Because once you acknowledge what's been holding you back, you can start to let it go. Letting go doesn't mean forgetting or ignoring. It means releasing the grip of the past so that it no longer dictates your future. It means forgiving yourself for the mistakes you've made and recognizing that those mistakes don't define you. They're simply lessons, stepping stones on your journey of growth. And the moment you begin to see them as such, they lose their power to hold you back. As you focus on yourself, you also begin to redefine what success means to you. For so long, many of us have been chasing a version of success that's been handed to us by society. We've been told that success looks like a certain job, a certain income, a certain lifestyle. But what if success has nothing to do with those things? What if true success is waking up each day and feeling at peace with who you are and the life you're living? What if it's about the quality of your relationships, the impact you have on others, and the joy you find in the little moments? When you focus on yourself, you realize that success isn't something you achieve, it's something you define. And once you've defined it for yourself, you can pursue it with clarity and purpose. You stop wasting energy trying to live up to someone else's standards, and you start living in alignment with your own values. This alignment is where confidence is born. Confidence isn't about being the loudest person in the room or always knowing the right answer. It's about trusting yourself, trusting your abilities, your decisions, and your resilience. It's about knowing that even if you don't have all the answers right now, you have the ability to figure them out. And this trust, this quiet confidence, is what allows you to take risks, to step outside your comfort zone, and to chase the life you truly want. But focusing on yourself isn't just about what you do, it's also about how you treat yourself. It's about the language you use when you talk to yourself, the way you respond to your mistakes, and the grace you extend to yourself in moments of struggle. Too often, we are kinder to others than we are to ourselves. We offer encouragement to friends, but criticize ourselves relentlessly. We celebrate the achievements of others, but downplay our own. This has to stop. You deserve the same kindness, compassion, and encouragement that you so readily give to others. You deserve to celebrate your wins, no matter how small. You deserve to forgive yourself when you fall short. And you deserve to believe in your potential even when the path ahead feels uncertain. Because the relationship you have with yourself sets the tone for every other relationship in your life. When you treat yourself with love and respect, you show others how to do the same. This self-love, this self-respect is not something you earn. It's something you choose. It's a decision you make every day, regardless of your circumstances. It's a decision to show up for yourself, even when it's hard, to believe in yourself, even when it feels impossible, and to keep going, even when the journey feels long. As you focus on yourself, you also start to see the world differently. You realize that life isn't about competition, it's about connection. It's not about being better than anyone else, it's about being better than you were yesterday. And when you embrace this mindset, you stop seeing other people as threats and start seeing them as allies. You recognize that their success doesn't diminish yours. Because when one person rises, we all rise. Focusing on yourself doesn't mean isolating yourself from others. In fact, it often strengthens your relationships. When you know who you are and what you stand for, you attract people who align with your values. You form deeper, more authentic connections because you're no longer trying to be someone you're not. And these connections, these relationships built on mutual respect and understanding, are far more fulfilling than any relationship built on pretense. But this doesn't happen overnight. Building a life that aligns with your values, creating authentic connections, and cultivating self-love all take time. They require patience, persistence, and practice. And along the way, there will be setbacks. There will be days when you doubt yourself, when you feel like giving up, and when the world feels overwhelming. On those days, remember this: every step you take, no matter how small, is a step forward. Every moment you spend focusing on yourself is an investment in your future. And every challenge you face is an opportunity to grow. Focusing on yourself is not an act of selfishness, it's an act of self-responsibility. It's about taking ownership of your life, your choices, and your happiness. It's about recognizing that you are the author of your story and that you have the power to change the narrative at any time. It's about living a life that feels true to you, not because it's perfect, but because it's yours. This journey is not easy, but it is worth it. Because when you focus on yourself, you don't just create a better life for yourself. You create a better world for everyone around you. You become a source of inspiration, a model of authenticity, and a catalyst for change. You show others what's possible when you choose to live with intention, courage, and purpose. And in doing so, you remind them that they too have the power to focus on themselves and transform their lives. Now, focusing on yourself in 2025 is not about isolation or selfishness. It's about alignment, authenticity, and personal growth. It's about stepping away from the noise of external expectations and rediscovering who you are and what truly matters to you. By prioritizing self-awareness, rewriting old stories, and defining success on your terms, you empower. This journey requires courage, patience, and persistence. But every step brings you closer to the person you're meant to become. In choosing to focus inward, you not only transform your own life, but also inspire others to do the same. You radiate authenticity, cultivate deeper connections, and contribute to a ripple effect of positivity and growth. Remember, the greatest change starts within. When you focus on yourself, you lay the foundation for a stronger, more resilient, and purposeful version of you, one capable of creating real impact.